welcome back to another video. I'm going to be doing a sit down video, which is not something I've done before, and I'm just going to go through 6 or 7 styling tips that I generally follow in our home. So obviously these are my opinions, obviously you don't have to follow them, but I just wanted to go through and share some tips that I use when I'm designing my home. So first thing I'm going to talk about is hanging curtains. So one thing I always make sure I do is try and hang them to the ceiling if I can, or as close to the ceiling as possible. The reason for doing this is that it adds more height to the room and it also makes your window look a lot taller. You don't want to be hanging your curtain so it's just above the window reveal. It just makes your window look short, and it also will make the room look shorter as well. And the other thing that you want to do is also make sure you have floor length curtains as well. None of these ankle swinging curtains or curtains that sit just below the windowsill. Again, they just chop the room in half, make your room look smaller. And then the other thing is to think about when you're hanging your curtains as well, is to make sure your track is wide enough for your window. So the minimum amount extra that you want on your curtain track is 30 centimetres, so roughly about 15 centimetres either side of your window opening. This then just allows enough room for your curtains to hang when the curtains are open. The other thing that I generally do though is, depending on obviously how big the window wall is, I try and hang the curtain track the full length of that wall, and it just even makes the window look even bigger than what it actually is, and also it just reduces any of that light being blocked out. So when obviously you've got a narrow curtain track, it's going to not give you any room to hang your curtains, or when you have your curtains open they are going to be blocking part of the window, which will then stop light from coming in, like this image here. This is a no-no. You don't want to be having curtains like this. Yeah, in this image it's literally got every single mistake when hanging curtains. So the curtains are hanging right just above the window, they sit just below the windowsill, and the curtain track's not wide enough for the window. So all no-nos with that. You want to be having them how I've demonstrated in our bedroom, how we've got our curtains. This is how you want to be hanging them to make the best of the room. Just following these 3 simple tips will just elevate the room and your window. So my next tip is stop pushing furniture up against the wall. This is one of my pet peeves, is when you walk into a lounge in particular, and literally all the sofas and all the chairs are pushed up against the wall. I've even seen a coffee table pushed up against the wall. Like, coffee tables should not be up against the wall. They should be in the middle of the room, somewhere for you to put your drinks. But the reason why I say not to do this, you want to be creating zones within your home, especially in the lounge. You want to be creating a conversation area, so to some degree your chairs should be facing each other to create conversation, but also make it cosy and inviting. It also gives the furniture in the room to breathe and creates balance. When you've got your furniture also shoved up against the wall, it makes it look like a waiting room. You don't want to be living in a waiting room. But also the other thing, like what we've done in our bedroom, obviously we're quite fortunate our bedroom is a really good size, but we have created a dressing area using some chest of drawers to divide the areas. So we've got a dedicated dressing area, but then also we've got our sleeping area. Obviously sometimes that's not always possible, but if you have got a big enough bedroom or you've got a big enough space, then yeah, make sure you're using your furniture to create and define areas as well, rather than pushing everything up against the wall and then just having this mass empty floor area in the middle of the room. Having that doesn't make it inviting, and yeah, it kind of makes it feel like a waiting room again. So my next tip is to paint all your woodwork the same colour as your walls. The reason for doing this, in particularly on the skirting boards, is we normally paint our skirtings white, which actually if you've got, especially if you've got a mid-tone or a dark tone wall colour, what it actually does is actually creates a horizontal line across the room, which then obviously makes your ceilings look a lot lower than what they are. And especially in the UK, obviously generally our ceiling heights are about 2.4 metres high, which is not, they're not the highest of ceilings. I know some properties, more period properties, generally their ceilings are a lot higher, so you can get away with obviously having different coloured skirtings or white skirtings if you want to go white. Especially if you've got lower ceilings, then I'd recommend obviously making sure you paint your skirting boards the same colour as your walls, and it will just stop that break in the wall and obviously make your room seem a lot taller. And this again goes with your coving as well, is also to paint your coving the same colour as your walls, because it will just elevate the room and make it seem a lot taller. So leading on from obviously painting your woodwork and your coving the same colour as your walls, I would then also recommend painting your ceiling the same colour as your walls as well. This will actually make your room feel bigger, and it creates a really seamless look. Also, if you've got a mid to dark tone wall and you paint your ceiling brilliant white, it actually creates too much of a contrast, which then obviously brings the ceiling down. So to make your ceiling seem a lot higher is to obviously paint them the same colour as the walls. If you don't obviously want to do that, I would recommend just painting them an off-white rather than a brilliant white. Brilliant white can be quite harsh and creates too much of a contrast. Let's move away from the brilliant white ceilings. So I hope you're enjoying it so far. I've got a few more tips to go, but I thought I'd just jump in here and just say, if you do like this sort of content, then obviously please do comment down below and give us a thumbs up. So my next tip is lighting. So there are a few things that I want to touch on with lighting. Yeah, so you want to be going for warm white lighting. The reason for this is because obviously it creates a cosy atmosphere. At the end of the day, you want your home to be cosy and welcoming. When you're looking at light bulbs, the warm bulb is done on Kelvins. So for your home, you want to be looking at 2,700 to 3,000, and it will create that nice warm, inviting atmosphere. Anything above 3,500 is going to make your home feel really stark, not inviting. It's going to make it feel cold. Yeah, and then the next sort of point I want to touch on is the sources of light in your rooms. So ideally you want to be aiming for about 4 different sources of light, and you want to be basically layering your light within your room. You also want to be thinking about what you are going to be doing in that room. So for example, in our bedroom we have got a light above our full-length mirror, and then I have 2 lamps either side of my dressing table, so I get an even lighting on my face when I'm doing my makeup and whatnot, which is really good. And then also either side of our beds we have our own spotlights for reading and all that sort of stuff. So just think about what tasks you're doing in those rooms. I would generally say avoid using or having just your centre light or just downlighters in your rooms. We generally don't use our main lights in any of our rooms. Like for instance, on our kitchen we have got downlighters. I could probably name on one hand how many times I've actually turned them on. So generally we just use the lights, the pendants over the island, and the under counter lighting, which gives us more than sufficient light in our kitchen. But if you are going to use like a centre light or downlight as your main source of lighting in that room, make sure they're on dimmers, because there's nothing worse than going into a room and it just be really bright and it makes it really uninviting. So yeah, just make sure you've got your main lights on a dimmer, so you can obviously turn them down and make it a lot softer and a lot more welcoming. My next tip is to stop buying everything from the same homeware store. Just make sure obviously when you're buying your furniture, your homeware goods, that you are buying them from different stores. At the end of the day, your home is, you are unique and your home is unique, and it should reflect you as a person. So yeah, if you're just going into Next and going, oh, we'll just have all that matching furniture with those accessories and stuff, it will just look like it's fallen out of the catalogue pages. So it'll be looking something like this, which is not what you want. You want your home to look individual to you. So yeah, just make sure obviously you are buying your homeware stuff from different stores, or you even look at thrifting stuff, or upcycling things, which I'm a massive fan of. So yeah, just make sure you don't buy it all from the same store basically. My last tip is to add plants. Yes, I love my plants, and if you'd ask a 20-something-year-old Amelia whether she would have as many plants as she does have now, she'd be like, no, why would I do that? But actually they just add something to the home. There's also added benefits to having obviously plants in your home, one being that they're mood boosters, and they also help reduce stress. They also help clean the air within your home as well, so they purify the air in the home. And there's loads more benefits to having plants in your home as well. Obviously, if you are a plant killer, although hands up, I have killed my fair share of plants. Then obviously if you know you're not going to have any luck keeping real plants, then look at getting some fake plants as an alternative. Yeah, you do need some sort of greenery within your home just to finish off the room, and make sure you've got plants in every room, like literally every room. We have plants in our bathroom, lounge, bedroom, so yeah, just have plants everywhere. They just makes me happy anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you do, then please do subscribe down below, and I will be back again soon with another video.